What's going on, people? No fancy intros, no music, none of that shit. We about to get right into it. This your boy Marcus Aurelius. How y'all doing? Keep it 100. Will we keep it 100? Yeah, that's what the fuck that shit means. You know what I'm saying? So today or tonight, depending on where you are, we're talking about Black empowerment versus Black female empowerment. Depending on where you are. Oh, I got this. Let me turn that shit down. Black empowerment versus Black female empowerment. The title of this video sounds crazy because it is crazy. You would think that Black empowerment and Black female empowerment meant the same thing, but apparently it doesn't. With me, I got Babowski, and she's going to speak on this with me because this conversation actually comes from a conversation we had a day or two ago. When she told me what I was saying was cringeworthy. You know what I'm saying? So there'll be some cringe tonight, and we're gonna bring some more women in here if they're available, and we're gonna bring some more guys up in here, probably my usual suspects, whoever want to jump in here and speak on it, man. Black empowerment versus Black female empowerment. Apparently these things are kind of like diametrically opposed to one another. And that probably sounds crazy to you, Brandy, because to you you probably, because you don't think like these people do, you probably would think Black empowerment is Black female empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what you think Black empowerment is. First, before you do that, give me your definition of the word empowerment.
I would consider that like uplifting. Trying to think. Like having a legitimate brain fart. Opportunities and I don't know, for the most part, just opportunities and uplifting the group of people.
Okay, so what do you think Black empowerment is? I figure you might feel Black empowerment is exactly what you said for Black people.
Yeah, uplifting our people and giving us opportunities, or creating opportunities for ourselves. I mean, it's basically it's self-explanatory.
Okay, what do you think Black female empowerment is?
The same thing, but for a subgroup of people. I feel like it's one and the same, but we have separate issues, just like Black men have separate issues.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate that there isn't a hashtag Black men empowerment.
So well, there wouldn't be. I mean, hey, first of all, let me shout out people in here. Metaphor. What's going on here? Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be crazy tonight, man. It's gonna be crazy tonight. So it feels like a Sunday to me, man, because usually I do this on Sunday, and I go crazy on Sunday. Shout out to my man Green Gorilla, who in a half hour is going on live. I gotta shout him out. Shout out to my man Masante Bay, and shout out to Dr. T-Son Johnson. And Dr. Ron, Ron and Tia-san have been promoting me on YouTube crazy right now. And BGS, these guys have, you know, I'm kind of a thing on Facebook, but these guys have dragged me into the manosphere, so here I am. And I appreciate them and appreciate the promotion and the support that they give me. So yeah, they empower me. I'm being empowered. Okay. So when you talk about Black female empowerment, because, you know, I asked you to define it and you said, you know, too bad that they don't have Black male empowerment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would figure if you say Black empowerment, whatever applies to women should be covered under that, right?
Correct.
So then why do we need Black female empowerment?
Because it seems like some things just get overlooked. And some things, unfortunately, I mean, we have separate issues.
Okay.
Even though they should be under the umbrella of Black empowerment, it's all, you know, the same issues. But we have different issues as women, just like men have different issues as men.
Okay. So how about this? And shout out to Adam.
Because people don't look at it like, oh, that's a Black issue. They're like, oh, that's a Black woman issue, or that's a woman issue.
Okay, but you figured your issues would be covered under Black empowerment. Once we're Black people empowered, then our issues get addressed. No?
They should.
They should. Okay, so Black empowerment versus Black female empowerment. So I'm gonna give my definitions right now. I wanted to ask you first. To me, to empower someone is to you know, like you said, the opportunities, access, the ability to advance, the ability to build one's own, support oneself, stand on one's own, be self-sufficient, you know, these sorts of things, right? Okay. Black empowerment to me is the ability for Black people to stand on their own, to be self-sufficient, you know, build their own, you know, and to some degree be sovereign, you know, these sorts of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without the need to reach outside for help or assistance, you know, things of that nature. You know, you don't have to do it for us. We'll do it ourselves. Just stay out of our way. Right? That's what Black empowerment is, right? So to me, things relating to Black men and Black women fall under that. You know, so that's empowerment, and that's Black empowerment. Black female empowerment is exactly what I just said, but for women who are Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when Black women are empowered, right? And me and you discussed this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to know is, and it sounds great on paper, like when you say, you know, we gotta empower Black women, and it even sounds good to me to a degree, like, you know, because the last thing I would want to be associated with is oppressing or denying access or denying progress or you know, the ability to self-sustain oneself to any Black man or Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
What we are experiencing in real time is, like you said there's no such thing as Black male empowerment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You made it clear. You said that at the beginning of the video, there's no such thing as Black male empowerment, but we have Black female empowerment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm making the assertion that when we empower Black men, we empower the community. Because when you empower Black men, you know, Black men take what they get. They take their power, and you know, when you financially empower Black men, they take care of women and children and
Mm-hmm.
take care of community. You know, assuming that we're talking about progressive men. We ain't talking about, you know, bums. We ain't talking about criminals. We ain't talking about fuckboys. We talking about men who we give empowerment to, men who deserve it. You know, they take that and then they do exactly what I just said. When you do this with women, And it sounds good, power the black woman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, there are intelligent and talented black women who deserve to make money, do their own thing. They deserve access or whatever. The problem lies in there is no demand and no requirement for women, once empowered, to pay back into the community or to build or to support or to take care of the community, the family, or whatever. So my assertion is when you empower black men, you empower the community. But when you empower black women, they empower themselves
And each other.
and each other. Black women will build movements and organizations and this and that and the third to empower themselves and other women. And they don't share that with anyone else in the community. As black men are required and obligated to do just that. And sometimes you don't have to obligate them. It's what they do.
Now, is it safe to assume that because we already do that by taking care of the household and taking care of the children and all of that?
Whose kids in what household?
Ours and each other's.
Who's each other? Because again, we have mostly single mother realities. So that's not what I would call a community. You again, and we're gonna go into the whole single mother thing in a second. But if you're saying that women taking care of their children that they had with whatever guy, because families are communities. Like when you get with a black man, marry a black man, in a relationship with a black man, and y'all all live together. You know what I'm saying? And there are black communities within the U.S. and it works just like that. But most of our reality is not that. Most of our reality is women, for the most part, choosing to have these kids and take care of them and things like that. And then they want to say, oh, I'm taking care of the community. No, that's not the same thing. It's not.
Okay.
No, I want you to respond to that. Do you don't just okay me. Do you think that how do you view, because you said, well, what about when we take care of it? Because you got women who, when they get with men, whether they have kids or not, when you give them financial access, this, that, and the third, they are still seeking for a man to come in and take care of the whole situation. So getting back to the female empowerment thing, what is the point of empowering women, especially financially, if they are still seeking men to take care of things financially?
That is pointless. It's double dipping. That's pointless.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to empower you to go still be, I don't want to say subservient because that's not the right word, but that's the first word that came to mind. But it's like, why would we empower you to be, independent or be able to do these things on your own without any assistance if you're going to go get assistance? That's double dipping.
It's triple dipping, actually. Because think about this also, right? And you use the word, you say independence. I think women in this country have a false sense of independence because their support is not always coming from one particular guy that they can look at and that's living with them, is in their face or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The point that we were talking about this before too, where I said independence is kind of like a farce because you might not want one man's patriarchy, but you're drawing benefits from a patriarchal system, which is pretty much like, whether it be social services, benefits, things like that, is the collective, support of many men and also women, because women pay taxes too. Right. So when you have, these children, et cetera, whatever the case may be, and you're able to get the Section 8s, the WICs, the this, the that, you're pretty much replacing that man with those things. So whereas you had the man for the resources, you replaced the man for the state, and now you're getting the resources from the state because the state requires things less from you than maybe that man does. You probably have a little bit more freedom and less obligation to the state, day to day than you would have in a relationship with a man. So in a way, that's quote unquote empowering because you're getting, the resources without, having to be obligated to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which I feel that many women, I ain't gonna say most, I'll say many, to be nice. Many women, if you give them the resources, they'll take the resources over the relationship. It's kind of like how men will take the pussy over the marriage, right, or the relationship, right? A dude, if he could skip past the relationship and the marriage, he'll take the vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Women is the opposite. Is women will take the resources, and the dude is the middleman. Right? So what you end up with when you give women, the resources, or you give them the access, you give them the quote unquote bag, right? What you end up with is
I wouldn't call that a bag now.
No, I'm not just saying like, social services. I'm talking about everything, whether it be social services, because I'm talking about women who work for it and women who don't.
Okay.
So you got women who work for it, they got a career, they go get, they go to college, they get their degree and this and that. And, we promote this. We promote our women going to college and things like that. We clown our men for doing the same shit. We call them lame, we call them names, all type of shit. You corny, yada, 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 yada. Right? But we promote the idea of women going out, getting this higher learning, this, this access, this, high income, right? And, we promote that. And when they get it, we tell them, well, you don't need no man. So you don't need no man if you get the bag, right? You also don't need no man if you get, the social services, which depending on how you configure it on paper, it might be a bag.
True.
If you got it, especially if you have enough kids, and there are women that have a game plan of having enough kids so that they get a bag from the state. What we end up with is a bunch of women who have eliminated the middleman in their access to resources. Right? So,
but that goes back to what y'all said the last show, that they have created a space where men and women don't need each other now, outside of procreation, and then you don't even need a man for that, for real, or a woman for that, for real.
Well, female empowerment has created that, because, and here's the cringe part. Once upon a time, women needed men for their survival. And what we've done is we built society up to a point where the man's role in resource provider has almost been rendered obsolete, right? So if you don't need the man anymore because you've empowered the woman, you've killed the family. This isn't about us. This is about y'all. When men had empowerment, when men provided and men were the primary provider, right? You had less of these things. Marriage rates was up and things like that. But I don't think that women were ever satisfied with the contract. In other words, like when you got married, the things that women had to do to contribute to the marriage. Mm-hmm. Because when you talk about these things now, whether you're talking about, cooking, cleaning, housework, these women, our women, I'm going to say black women in particular, view these things as like kind of like slave plantation work. They would rather do what we're doing. Women are looking at men like, I want to do what he's doing. That looks more exciting. It looks better. It's different. Whatever, whatever. Cool. But what happens is when you have a nice majority or whatever the case may be, seeking that what I call masculine aspirations, male aspirations, where you chase the career and this and that,
and that's where I cringe.
The family gets abandoned. The traditional family gets abandoned. So,
but we're past a traditional family now. Like we have single lesbian couples, single dads, gay couples, lesbian couples, thruples, poly couples.
Before I get into that part, right? What I'm asking is, if we're going to pretend like we want this Black community, this thriving Black community, if we're going to pretend like this is what we want, because what we have right now is no bueno. All right. Most violent criminals, felons, whatever, come from single parent homes. Okay.
Messenger audio.
They come from single parent homes, right? So either you want that reality with your, your contemporary, freedoms and things like that. What's the matter with this guy, man? Yeah, so there's a trade-off being made. Women want their, their quote unquote, independence at the cost of progress for the community. So when you talk about all this stuff you just mentioned, right? All of that stuff comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. Y'all want it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't have the thriving. My belief that y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want the thriving Black community. Y'all don't want the community where you got men and women raising children, buying houses, and this Black utopia. I don't think Black women want that. I think that they're happy with what we have, and what we have is trash. And I'm not saying that, again, Black communities like what I'm talking about do not exist in this country, because they do. You understand? But what I'm saying is, what is it like? How do you see community being created from what we have? Like, what are Black women willing to give up in exchange? You understand? For this community, because to me it sounds like Black women are for self, like they're for self in this context. Is like, okay, well, I'm doing me, this and that and the third, and whatever. I want you to give me your opinion on that.
Wait, what's the question?
How do you think we get community? Like, if we're empowering women, you already agreed that empowered women don't build community. Empowered women don't build family. Empowered women don't want to contribute the fruits of their empowerment. When they go to these jobs and they get all this money, they want to keep it. They still want to find a man that pays all the bills and this and that and third, right? Because their money is theirs. The money that they get is not for nobody else. It's not to build nothing. It's not for family. It's not for none of that. It's for them. Was mine?
It can't work like that.
So what do you suggest? Do you suggest that we empower women, or that we empower men? Do you think that empowering women has fucked us up?
I don't think so. I just don't feel like that we have empowered our men enough. I don't think that empowering women has created this, I feel like, cesspool. But No, we need to empower our men more. It needs to be equal. There's got to be some balance, and there's no balance.
So who's we? We who?
Shit, the black women, they got to step up and empower the black men. There's a lot, unfortunately, a lot of black women who don't empower their own black men. They don't empower they don't even, it starts at home. They don't empower their brothers, their uncles, their cousins, their fathers. The mothers don't encourage the fathers if they're even around.
So you think that's the answer? Nah. Black women don't want to empower black men because if that would have happened, then they would have to be submissive. They don't want that.
I don't think that's true.
Look around. Look around. Where do you see evidence of otherwise? And this is not a conversation about you. It's in general.
Mm-hmm.
You say the word submit, girls think you're talking about wrestling. They think you're going to pin them to the mat.
Because some men think that that's what that means.
Well, some men.
So it goes both ways. You can't submit to somebody who can't lead.
Okay, but we ain't talking about them. We talking about you saying women need to be empowered, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The funny thing to me about when you say, well, some men can't lead, we have a good number of women following niggas who are obvious incompetent motherfuckers in relation to leadership. These are, the thing that's crazy to me is what women demand from the men they like or don't like versus the men they like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talking about what niggas need to do to qualify to lead, and we look at most black women's baby daddies, and these niggas don't look like anybody's Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or any Farrakhan that I've ever seen. They don't look like Forbes 500. So I'm trying to understand when you say that, it's like, oh, some of these niggas got to be qualified. Most baby daddies ain't qualified. So aside from that, like I said, women don't want to share power with men. What I'm saying is, if women are looking for men that are doing better than them, they are not going to pull up men beneath them. That is just nature. So to say, oh, we need to empower our men, and to say that we is women, no.
Okay, so then what about other men? Other men need to empower other men. If men feel that way about women taking their role, then why don't they be like, listen, we're going to empower each other and take our role back?
Because this is the thing. When men are empowered, right? Look at what happens. The men, once empowered, obligate those women to submit to the actual, position they have. Black women fight with black men over power. They're competing with black men over power. They don't want to be cooperative or submissive to those men once empowered. That's another thing that black women do too. It's like they throw constant hurdles. It's the same thing as white supremacy. White supremacy will tell black people, you know what, we'll accept you if you dress like this. So then you dress like that.
Mm-hmm.
White supremacy will tell you, well, if you talk like this, we'll accept you. So then, you start talking like that and you start dressing like that. And then now it's okay. You gotta it's always a new thing that you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you check a box, they create another one. And that's what Black women do, is every time a Black man checks a box, they create another one. We want you to make 6 figures. So you check that box. We want you to be 6 feet tall. So then you check that box. You check all these boxes. You become all of this shit. Right? But now that you're an empowered man, now you want some value in return. It's just like, you don't become the super bad chick. You don't go to the gym or get the tummy tuck and all of that to get regular nigga. Right? So when you do all of those things as a man who is either empowered or is self-empowered, you're looking for value in that woman. Why do you think the women who make all this money are the number one, demographic of Black women complaining that they're single? Them ratchets ain't got problems getting dick. Trust me. All right, so let's go with Prodigy. There were foolish kings. Their women still had to submit to them. As you said, plenty of women submit to Pookie whom don't want to lead. Therefore, a woman must align with men who want to lead. See, the problem is the women don't want to be led. And Brandy, the thing is, these women that we're talking about, that you're saying should empower their men, they don't want that, because then that means the power shifts. Black women are flattered at all of these things that they hear. We're the most educated and we don't need no man, and we strong, Black, and independent. And these things are ego boosters to Black women. There is no other demographic of women who talks like that. And in fact, if you tell them that they are strong or anything like that, they'll find it offensive, especially Asian women. Asian women will be pissed off if you refer to them as strong.
Because it's not looked at as feminine.
Bingo. So now you understand. If you are placing yourself in, a man's space, meaning you have empowered yourself financially and this, that, and the third, you chase a career, whatever. Why does it stop when it comes to contributing, whether it be into the household or the community? Because if Black women are going to be empowered, right, they have to also take on, responsibilities of empowered people. If we're going to empower men and say, well, men have to build, men have to take care of families, take care of women and children and community, then empowered women have to do the same. So that means women's power goes one way and doesn't return. You understand what I'm saying? And men's power, you give them power and it benefits a great number of people, and women's power only benefits her personally and maybe her children, maybe. Because we already know Black women will tax the shit out their kids for the benefit of raising them, right? Like, oh, you lived in my house 18 years, you owe me some shit. I gave birth to you, you owe me.
Right.
I'm gonna teach you about life. Here's this light bill, right?
I fed you and clothed you. Yeah,
they gonna tax the shit out their kids, right? So Adam says they follow Pookie's and Ray Ray. Listen, Brady, I know you hate this type of talk.
And I hate it only because I don't live or think like this. And a lot of my circle does not live and think like this. Now, people that I associate myself with do not live and think like this. Now, I do know people that do, but that's why it makes me cringe, because I don't fall into that circle. And then I feel like we kind of get punished or looked at like, oh, well, you didn't get your girls in check and chastise them. So now everybody's looped up in this one group.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what I've told you before. When it comes to that, the best way to not have that happen to you is to denounce the behavior. And what women tend to do is they tend to either defend vocally or defend in silence dysfunctional behavior from other women. If cops is out there beating up and shooting innocent people, right? The cop who is not doing those things doesn't get to complain because he's being lumped in with other cops if he's not being vocal about the injustice. So because women don't call out other women, women don't call out unfair practices in family court and in law and in whether it be marriage or anything like that, because they don't call out other women's behavior or enabled behavior because of social things in our culture that enables bad behavior, because they choose not to do that because, like I told you before, there's this sisterhood of silence, and dudes in the sphere will call it the sisterhood of failure. You may not have heard that term before.
I have.
Right.
Now I will say there are times that we do get on it. Like I personally, women get on each other. It just ain't always public.
But it has to be.
Why?
I'll tell you why. So let me ask you. See, first of all, let me read this comment. A king will make a peasant his queen, but a queen will never make a peasant her king. You subscribe to that?
True.
All right. So they don't submit to Pookie, but thinks she can control them. There it is. And that's, I have members of my family, female members of my family, who I feel like don't date men who got their shit together because they don't want to feel like that man will have power over them.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
So it's like, oh, that's what you do.
That's not what I do. I know people in my family that do that.
Oh, woo,
you don't want to date. You don't want to date above, so that you feel like you're in control and you have the upper hand in the situation.
Yeah, I've had women actually straight up tell me that that's how they date. But at any rate, so we was talking about before I read the comment, which way we were going. See, y'all done lost me with these comments and shit. Okay, so we talking about women who
getting on each other in public.
Correcting each other in private. Okay, so check this out. Would it help racism as a problem that white people check other white people in private?
No, actually.
No. So why doesn't the same logic apply here?
Because we get it enough from other people. We don't want to.
Oh, so okay. So so to protect your feelings, we should do this in a manner that doesn't solve the problem. Because it's like, let's say I say something about you on Facebook or on YouTube or on some social media platform that embarrasses you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you call and you curse me out and I feel bad. And in that phone call, I say, you know what, man, I was wrong. My bad. Can we end it there?
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't want the public apology?
It doesn't matter. You apologize to me. If you wrong me, you apologize to me. I don't care what anybody's got to think about it.
No, you do, because you were embarrassed by the public comment. You understand what I'm saying? So if I embarrassed you, if I said something incorrect about you, let's say I said a lie about you, but then the phone call, I apologize. But then I never told the world that what I said was incorrect, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
I still don't. I mean, I personally still don't care. But I mean,
I don't believe you.
as a
I don't believe.
No, I don't. I don't.
I don't believe you. But most people would say that they want it said out loud, because if you don't address the problem in public,
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying? I think that Black women are more interested in protecting the image of Black women than they are to get into a solution. And I want to know, you're saying, well, we get it enough. How so compared to us? Because compared to us, you do not.
I'm not saying in comparison. I'm just saying in general.
Okay, but women need to be corrected because they say and do a lot of things in public that people are seeing. So we need to see women denouncing that behavior, just like we need to see white folks denounce racism. It needs to happen in public. Because if you don't, then we don't know you from them.
Unfortunately.
That's your decision that you do if you don't want to say it in public. So you're saying that if you're gonna correct other Black women, you're gonna correct them one by one in private. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And that's what it really is about. Y'all are worried about how shit looks. If y'all were worried about how shit looks, then you should worry about when these women do the things that they do, how bad that looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Enough to call that out and say, yo, Black women need to stop doing this, or some Black women, or whatever. That doesn't demonstrate a hate for women. It demonstrates a hate for the behavior. So,
and sometimes people do, and we have to be like, I'm not a part of that. I don't act like that or talk like that or do that.
Yeah, none of my girls act like that. It's like if I were to say, well, none of my niggas rape. Imagine. I'm a use women's like usual talking points, but I'm a use sex assault, right?
He said my sister married a Pookie.
Yeah, let's get to some of these comments. We're gonna talk about what I just said. All right, so so she thinks she can control Pookie. So it said they can only control men with sex, and that's where Pookie comes into play. Don of Ice and Fire says the funny thing is how many of these women that rebel against submission are the first ones to talk about waiting for God to send them a man. And that's the Don of Ice and Fire, ladies and gentlemen. Prodigy says my sister married a Pookie and complained every day. Oh man, listen. I knew a woman who married a dude, right? She called me complaining. It's crazy the things that women call me and tell me, like this nigga won't brush his teeth. It's like you married a man and had his child, and you didn't know that he brushed his teeth. Like, what else is going on if he's not doing that? What else is going on, right?
Mm-mm.
So, Afro Analyst says, Ada Williams, true that. And they rely on each other financially. It's like most Black women are paired with her most suitable mate, Pookie, but hypergamy. Brandy, do you know this word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we talk about it often.
What's your definition of hypergamy?
Marrying up.
That's basic. That's the basic. This is a basic.
I don't know. I don't want to say I'm a firm believer in marrying up because that sounds really bad. But I say at least marry equal or marry equal or marry up.
How you gonna marry equal? Well, y'all gonna both work at McDonald's and get the same rate of pay? The fuck? Marry equal. Listen, man. Listen. Yo, women, equality, 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 equality. That's your favorite word, equality, equality, until the check comes, until the bills come, until it's time to take responsibility, accountability for some shit. Then, as a man, you need to, as a man.
I'm like, okay, and then you need to go back to 1945.
I had a chick on Facebook post some shit about, there were these pictures, there's these different pictures of women proposing to men, right?
Oh, Lord.
Did you see this?
Yes.
This is female empowerment, right? Like, fuck that. I like this motherfucker. I'm proposed to him, right? So you used to get on these and girls is like, oh my God, this is sad. If you were a man, you will never run your household. If a woman is proposing to you, oh my God, we need to go back to tradition. Y'all don't want no motherfucking tradition. There's no.
I ain't proposing to no man.
It was okay. That's cool, but that's your choice. But shit, I bet you most of them chicks got married. They got married. You propose, you might get married.
Nah.
You sit and wait. Okay, so then it's more important to you, right? To not be the one proposing than to actually get married. So it's important to you how you get the ring.
It was at one point, yeah. Now I don't care about a ring.
No, but
it was at one point.
What's up, Alonzo? I see you. So
yeah, I'm not proposing to nobody.
So you not proposing to nobody? Okay, but you, again, you're one of them people, you say, well, I don't want to get married. But okay, and we'll get into that in a second, right? We're talking about the women who say or pretend that they want a community, a progressive culture, families and things like that, right? What I'm asking you is, and I ain't talking about you, I'm speaking in general, how do you propose we do this while we're empowering females? Because when you empower females, they don't empower men, they don't empower community, they don't build, they don't do any of that, right? Like, it's not even debatable, it's in our faces, right? So I'm asking you, since that's not working, since the women are not doing the things you say they should do, right? Because you're also saying, well, if a nigga can't lead, then you shouldn't follow him, right? You ain't saying, well, other men need to make him lead. You're saying, well, we shouldn't follow him if he can't lead. I agree. It's not what y'all are doing, because y'all are following a lot of non-leader material motherfuckers, but you said, if a motherfucker can't lead, you shouldn't follow him. So that same logic should apply to this. If women are not doing what needs to be done with the empowerment they're getting, and they are taking this empowerment and fucking it up and abusing it and moving selfishly with it at the cost of Black community, culture, and family,
take it back.
Are you saying that honestly, or
I'm saying not as a whole, but individually. Take it back. Like you don't. There's got to be some type of system or hierarchy in place. Like you don't know. You don't get to do this no more. So go sit your ass down.
There is a hierarchy, and y'all are the hierarchy, not us. What I'm saying is,
Okay, then we Black women need to. I'm saying this on live. We Black women need to step up and be like, yo, you're not doing what you're supposed to do by empowering the community or empowering our children, ourselves, and our Black men. Just go sit your ass down. You don't get no more power.
All right, sounds good. sounds good. Sounds good.
So what do you propose then?
I'm not. Listen, I could propose something, but sounds good, right?
Uh-huh.
Even if you believe that you and nobody else is going to do it, it's very few women that are willing to do that. Like that will criticize other women on their own time, not to agree with a man or when things happen and the shit, is not working for her because women move. When the wind blows her way. What I'm saying is the question is, women, will women do that on their own time? Will they do the Shahrazad Ali, thing? Hey, what's going on, Barry Little? So
Probably not, because then you get roped into this pick me bullshit, and then you have that.
So you mean the band of misfit women who chastise women for actually promoting some sort of functional societal.
It's a catch-22.
So you're worried about being called a pygmy?
I'm not worried about that, but some people might be.
Why? So you saying
because they don't want to look like that. People don't want to look like the pick me to other women. Like, I look at her, she's a pick me. Look at her.
So this would be the second time in this discussion that you've cited that women are more worried about how things appear and look as opposed to the goal. You understand what I mean? Like, I don't want to look this way. I don't want this. I don't want this shaming that comes from other women.
Because we already look a certain way to society. So we try not to add no more shit to that.
But you already do that with the actions that we're actually criticizing. Let me ask you something, and I want you to give me the logic behind this. If let's say Megan Thee Stallion, right, puts out a video, and she's doing all type of ratchet shit, right? You think is more embarrassing to black women to criticize what she's doing than the actual thing that she's doing?
No, I don't.
So that's what I mean. So you're saying, well, we get enough, Chris. Let me, you know what? Before I continue, I want you to tell me in detail the things that you're talking about black women are getting, because all I hear for the most part is positive shit coming from the greater society when it comes to y'all. Y'all so great. Is Black Girl Magic, Black Girls Rock, and all this other shit.
But these are things that are only a couple years old, and those are things that were created to empower us because we have been chastised about our skin, about our hair. Like, it's just now a thing to now you can go to work and not be called unprofessional for the shit that grows out of your head naturally. We've been shamed for our bodies, the way we're naturally built and stuff like that. Things we can't control.
And you compare that to behavior?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm just saying.
So, okay.
And then, of course, the stereotypes of black women. We ghetto, we loud, we ratchet, bonquishas and shaniquas and shit like that. Okay. Like, perfect example. I did somebody's hair, and she's a white girl, and somebody commented on her photo, like, oh, you look like Shaniqua, or you look like Shanae is what it was. And I was offended because I'm like, is that what you think black women are, as a Shanae? But which is and then look at Shanae.
But then we support that image, or women support that image in music and entertainment. Y'all support the Tiffany Haddishes, the Cardi B's, the Megan Thee Stallions but then y'all feel away when y'all are compared to these same women. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, if these things are embarrassing, you would imagine black women would say, enough is enough. It's kind of like how we criticize, if you're an actor, you want movie roles, you put on a dress, or you do different things that make black men look bad. We call you out for it. That's not necessarily what black women do. Black women actually support and promote the women who are promoting the image that they're trying to avoid.
Now, this isn't my opinion. I'm just giving a possibility. But it's going to be sad because maybe people think that this is all we have. So even if she is ghetto or ratchet or loud or a Boquisha type chick or whatever the stereotype is, at least she's on TV. It's like, and that's really sad. It's really, really sad when I think about it and say it out loud, because that shouldn't be what's depicted. Like, we shouldn't be accepting or happy about at least. Oh, well, at least we on TV. At least we on the radio. At least we on this.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you're saying that you can't criticize the behavior that's embarrassing you because it's embarrassing you to criticize the behavior. That's a very circular argument. Do you understand the logic that I just explained to you? You can't criticize the behavior because the actual criticism is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
But the behavior is embarrassing. If black women criticize the women who are the problem, it would not be embarrassing to you. Y'all are not worried about people outside of your demo criticizing you for criticizing black women. You're worried about being criticized by the same boonquishas that you're talking about. You were worried about, you just said it, you're saying you're worried about people calling you a pygmy. White women ain't calling you a pygmy. Asian women ain't calling you a pygmy. Black men ain't calling you a pygmy. It's them same
black women.
It's the same black women that you don't want to talk about, because you're saying is we're giving ourselves, we're giving too much criticism as is, so I don't want to criticize none of the women. Sounds like to me is black women don't want to call attention to certain shit, so they just feel like if I be quiet, it'll go away or nobody will notice, which is not reality.
Right.
Because black women right now hold reigning title globally for ratchetness, and y'all are not criticizing the ratchet. But going back to we're off topic, so let's go back to black female empowerment. So you said,
but it kind of does, because some people feel like that is empowerment, because some and I have seen this and read this and heard this. Some of these girls feel like because that's who they are and they living loud and they living free and they can be who they want to be and be who they are and don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about their judgment, or they're not being judged for that is empowering.
I think that women find empowering and ratchet behavior insofar as they think that it pisses men off. I think that in the first world country, right, where women are pretty much not worrying about where they're going to get their next meal from, they have to invent oppression. So they invent oppression in the, male opinion, or going against male opinion. So whereas back in the day, we liked Little Kim and this and that and the other, now it's like, okay, I've asked men, when did we become so conservative when it comes to women? What women are out here doing? Women out here twerking at the fucking protest and doing stupid shit like that, right? But that's
right.
This is empowering shit, right? You can't tell me black women aren't embarrassed at shit like that, right? But y'all don't call it out because y'all don't want to go against other black women. Like Diego said, I'm putting it on screen. Can't go against
the sisterhood.
Can't go against the sisterhood. It's like being a cop, telling other cops, being a slave, telling massa. You're going against the crowd. And black women don't want to speak out, not in public, about other black women. Said Oprah is not equal to her broke man. There's no equality. All right. So what did Alonzo say? He said those racial stereotypes, Shanae, aka Pookie, right? Yes, but that's against black people, not black women. Oh, she said he won't cut the grass. Ha ha ha. I just laugh at her. He a whole man and she got to take out the trash and mow the lawn. I told her not to marry him. Whoa.
He talking about his sister's husband.
Yeah, I know who he's talking about, man.
Oh.
Oh man. He's a whole man and she got to take out the trash and mow the lawn. Whoa.
But that's not a gender specific chore. That's a chore that needs to be done around the house.
This shit is equality. It's equality.
If she was living alone, she would be doing that shit. If he was living alone, he would be doing that shit. I live alone and I do all my shit. Well, unless I hire somebody, but for the most part, I do it myself.
Black women do a lot of shit when they're alone, and as soon as a dude walk into the room, that motherfucker is assigned all them duties that she was doing beforehand. Black women will make a whole salary and pay all their bills and go to Chez Robert's and eat a porterhouse steak. And as soon as a motherfucker step into the situation, all of that shit becomes his responsibilities. All right, now this motherfucker got to pay for all this shit that she was paying for. And she still making her same motherfucking salary. She was making. Okay, it's just like how when you turn 18, the light bill was the light bill and the gas bill was the gas bill and the rent was the rent and all that other shit was that other shit. But as soon as you turn 18, mama say, motherfucker, you gotta pay into this shit.
Don't be getting on here preaching.
You a nigga living in my house for free. You a nigga living here for free. The day after your birthday or the day of, motherfucker, happy birthday, nigga. Here's a rent. The rent is due. I know white kids, man, with their parents, man, saved up tens of thousands of dollars, some even hundreds of thousands of dollars, and bought them a home moving out of their place. Because the bills that was coming in the day before is the same bills, and the same motherfucker who was paying them before is paying them after. But we gotta empower black women. Now, mind you, again, I am not for the subjugation or oppression of black women. I understand that, again, black women are some intelligent and talented people. And if they are working for, specified amount of money, they probably should be given that money. But I am of the belief, I'm going to say it now, I am of the belief that the jobs and the positions that you are giving black women for them to be empowered should go to black men.
Are they applying for them?
Oh, no, we don't do the shit y'all do. To be honest, let's make one thing clear. Black men make more money than black women.
Mm-hmm.
Those are stats that you can check out. Not only that, I'm not going to get into the whole black women are more educated. Black women go to school more than black men, get more degrees than black men, but do not, on average, make more money than we do. We make more money without the degree. A lot of women go to school for the most bullshit degrees you ever want to see.
Now, why is that?
You have to ask them. I think for them, it's just, hey, I went to school, I got a degree, I'm better than you, I'm educated. They don't never tell you what they went to school for. They just tell you they went to school. I'm an educated black woman, I got degrees. And then some of them become professional students. They be in school for 10, 12, 15 years, getting a master's. And still looking for a nigga to pay for everything.
Now that I don't understand and I don't agree with. Like, don't do that.
I knew a woman that was trying to get with me. She's a nurse practitioner.
Oh, she making money.
A practitioner is a level above a registered nurse.
Oh, she making money.
But she still wants a guy to step in and pay for everything. What is the purpose of getting all this education so that you can make yourself, employable for a certain amount of money for you to not pay into the family? Not because we need you to. I'm asking, what the fuck is the point of Black female empowerment if it doesn't help anyone? It's some bullshit for the sake of itself. It looks nice when you're single and empowered, yada yada yada. You would imagine if you get with a guy, you make this much and he makes this much. Now we make this much, but no, that's not how it goes. Now, Black female empowerment might mean that to you, but for the larger masses, it just means I don't need a nigga. I want a nigga. I don't need a nigga. And if a nigga want to be with me, he got to pay everything. And if he don't, then I can do bad by myself. Ain't that? That's the motherfucking trademark. Oh, yeah. Of Black women. I can do that by myself. What that means is contributing financially or otherwise to a household is AKA doing bad.
That's fucked up.
Let me ask you something, right? If you was down and out and you had a friend who was doing well, and let's say one day you were short maybe $50 for the rent. You knew you would have it, but you had to pay it that day. So you asked your friend who, this is your friend, like y'all know each other for years. And, look, man, I just need $50 until Friday. I got to pay this rent or they're going to charge me a crazy late fee. Can you do this for me? No, I don't lend out money. Right? So let's say this happens in let's say, oh, Ian's in the building. About to bring y'all in soon, Ian. Let's say this is your friend. She tells you no, she's not going to lend you 50, even though she knows you're good for it. Y'all know each other forever. She wouldn't lend you $50 to pay your bill before the due date or the late fee hit. So then you got hit with the late fee, and the late fee is an extra $25 or $50. So then when you do get paid, now you can't just pay that 50. You got to pay the 50 plus the late fee. You would feel away, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's fast forward. Let's say a year later, right? She loses her wallet, right? She loses her wallet, and it's the weekend, so she can't get another card until Monday, and she got some financial shit to take care of. I'm trying to create some bullshit here, right? And she come to you and she says, Brandy, oh my God, I lost my wallet. My shit is gone. It's the weekend. I can't go to the bank. I need to get this money right now. I need to pay for this shit. Yo, my house is empty. Ain't shit in there to eat. Can I hold $80, $100? What you gonna say?
Oh my God, I'm sorry, boo. I can't help you.
I can't help you. No, motherfucker. Cause you wouldn't do.
And I have been there and done that. I can't help you.
Check it out. Now, I want to close this point out. The reason you say no is because if it was me in that situation, you wouldn't do it for me. Why? Because I was in that situation and you didn't do it.
Yep.
When Black men hear Black women say, I can do bad by myself, what Black women are basically saying is, when I'm fucked up, you could pull me up. What the hell is that noise? When
Sorry, it might be me texting, but I have my phone on silent, so I don't know.
When I'm fucked up, you mute your mic. Go mute your mic. When I'm fucked up, you can help me. But when you fucked up, I can do bad by myself. That's what we're being told. We're being told that basically women will not do what they will do or what they would expect us to do for them. I can help you, but you can't help me. If I'm in a position, I expect your help. But if you're in a position, I'm not going to do the same for you. That's what they are flat out telling black men. Empower us. Empower black women. We will not do the same for you. Like Brandy said at the beginning of this broadcast, there is no such thing as black male empowerment. It doesn't exist. You've never heard that phrase before, black male empowerment. You never heard that phrase before.
I'm gonna make it a hashtag.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna post that link. Ian, I need you in here. I don't know who else is listening and not commenting, but I see Mr. Ian Graves. I want him up in here. I know that there's a few other men and gentlemen who are live right now. So everybody who's listening to me talk right now, I appreciate you for being in the room with me. This is Marcus Aurelius, Keep It 100. All right, 100, not 100. It's a Brooklyn thing. 100, right? So I posted that StreamYard link. I expect to see Ian pop up in here, but if anybody else wants to pop up in here, I'll let you kick it for a second and, give me your opinions or whatever the case may be. And, but yeah, man, to me, black, it's a very bad thing to say. Like what I'm saying, it sounds like you say you cringe when I say it. I almost cringe when I say it, but black female empowerment is useless.
Oh my God.
In the grand scheme of things, it's useless. In the grand scheme of things, it's useless. It's useful to the black woman that's being empowered, but to the community and to the culture and to black people, it's useless. Because it's a zero-sum game. It's a zero-sum game. You can't have both. If black female empowerment empowered black people, it would be a wonderful thing. Empowering black men empowers black people. I said it on Green Gorilla channel. When we had the Panthers ran the Black Power movement. What did we get from that? Free lunches, other programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther movement when black men ran it. Now, there was complaints, there ain't no black women in leadership of the Black Panthers. When black men were in charge of the Black Power movement, you got progressive shit. You got real shit from it. You got programs from it. It benefited the community. Right now, we have an organization called BLM. Who run that, Brandy?
And it a black woman or white people?
Women. No, it's black women. Black women BLM. We getting free lunches from BLM? We getting programs? Are we getting community centers? Are we getting funerals for the men shot by the cops that they use to collect money?
I didn't know that they were collecting money. I thought the money was going to the families.
You didn't know that BLM was collecting money? They've raised millions of dollars, I think close to $1 billion in Hey man, look, you be in the black woman meetings. You got to tell me. I'm fucking with you. If you in the black woman meetings, you got to tell me. I'm just fucking with you, but I'm just saying, like, when you look and compare when black women run shit and when black men run shit, and you look at the outcomes of both, the proof is in the pudding. It's pretty clear. It's pretty fucking clear. Ice Cube. And it's crazy that an hour and 15 minutes into this video, I mentioned Ice Cube's name. Black empowerment versus black female empowerment. Ice Cube put together a contract for Black America. He went on the Fox Soul channel to discuss it with 4 black women, Claudia Jordan, Lisa Ray, Vivica Fox, and I think Selena Johnson. He had that conversation with them. They told him, "Oh no, black, black people, Black America and black women are not the same thing. Black women are not Black America. They're their own entity, right? They need to be empowered upon their own. They need their own empowerment." Ice Cube went about putting together the contract for what the community needs. See, when you talk about Black America in the male context, you're talking about everybody. But when you're talking to women, they like, well, what about black women? And the things that black women get from the government or from anywhere else flows into the collective of black women, and it spits out nothing. Spits nothing back out. So let's read some of these comments, and then we're gonna holler at my man Ian. So he said the ones that ain't getting picked. It's been so long he posted that comment out. I forget what it was in context to it. So
the pick-me's.
Yeah, the ones that ain't getting picked, talking about pick-me's. The funny thing is that I find that the pick-me's, most of the pick-me's are in relationships, so they already been picked. They've been picked because of their, mentality in the first place. Now, you would imagine the opposite or of a pick-me is a simp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Simps don't get picked. So why is it that the men who pander to women are still single, and the women who quote unquote pander to men are in relationships? So
that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Well,
that's a whole different topic, though.
So I work with a felon who started a financial business in New York City through his wife's name. So if black women were taught like white women, they would use their position to help their mates. Responsible black men build businesses. Hey, Lonzo, stick around, man. So right now, welcome my man Ian Graves.
Peace to the squad. How y'all doing?
Know what I'm saying? What's good, brother?
Am I echoing?
Not so far. I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I think I'm echoing. Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
little
It's
bit.
me echoing because my brother is calling me. Let me. I'm gonna log off real quick and I'm gonna call you right. I'm gonna hop back on in a second.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
All right. All right. So yeah, what's going on?
Peace. So you got a good topic today. You know what I'm saying? we're gonna have to. Well, at some point we're gonna have to nail this shit down, man. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Well, in the manosphere we already got it nailed down. At some point we got to make some inroad, and in the minds of these females, because they ain't really understanding, the significance of empowering men and empowering women.
Yeah, I think what it is in our culture, when you empower men, I think that what women envision when they think of empowered black men is the color purple.
Yeah. 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 Well, you know, to your point where you threw in, you know, the dichotomy between the pick-me's getting men and the male simps not getting women. You know, that's important. You know, and you see how she just kind of brushed that off and said that's a separate conversation, but it's not though, because what we're not acknowledging and what women are not acknowledging, that anytime economic empowerment, you know, comes to black women, they try to equate it with sexual independence as well, you know, and sexual domination. That's one of the significant factors. They always try to equate money and sexual empowerment together. You know what I'm saying? Economic empowerment and sexual empowerment. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is they funnel a lot of their power into dominating relationships, with their interpersonal relationships. You know, and what they say, okay, what's good for the gander? They say, oh well, when men are empowered, they dominate females. But that's just in our nature. It's not something. It's not like we go out of our way to do shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Y'all are going out of your way to dominate men with your economic empowerment. You know what I'm saying? All we're doing is using our economics to say, you know what, like Kevin Samuel says, okay, you set a standard. Okay, I got the standard. Can I get some pussy? You know what I'm saying? That's not a domination. We're going by the standard you set. You know what I'm saying? So we can't, if we didn't set the terms, it's not about domination then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that what happens is like it's like the rabbit got the gun complex, right? Like when you give the woman the income, it's like, okay, I got the gun now. You know what I mean? And I you know, I'm in position now where I don't need you and I could throw my weight around. So they start to, you know, move, you know, in a masculine manner because they think that's what comes with it until, you know, again, they're in real like masculine situations that, you know, require certain, you know, responsibilities or, you know, accountabilities and, you know, obligations and requirements. They don't want that part of it, right? So they just want the benefit part, the benefit and I guess, you know, the so-called freedom or the so-called power. It's really
Mhm,
about power. So like,
mhm,
you know, imagine, you know, a slave on a plantation getting a hold of a gun, or a guy in prison getting a hold of a gun or some sort of weapon, and you know he had one of the COs or something. Yeah, man. So it's like they feel like, okay, I got the job, I'm getting this money, right? And it's like you said, they make a deliberate point of throwing in your face that they don't need you. They get their own bag, this and that. I'm a boss, bitch, whatever the case may be. And they'll tell the rest of the world, oh, men are just intimidated by a successful woman. Nah, you're just annoying because every chance you get, you try to remind us that you make money and you don't need us. And you know, any man worth, you know, his salt don't want to deal with that type of shit. But
mhm.
the you know, the fuck boys and the pookies and this ones and that ones, they don't have a problem dealing with that
Right,
because
right.
they're used to that dynamic from their homes and shit.
Mhm, mhm. You know, I mean, like you said, I mean, they're basically trying to buy up the whole sexual marketplace. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's their mindset. You know what I'm saying? When they first think about empowerment, economic empowerment, their first and foremost, you know what I'm saying, intent is how do I dominate my interpersonal relationships. They're not looking at, okay, how can I dominate the world stage? You know what I'm saying? How can I dominate the community? I'm talking about even in a positive manner. They're thinking about how can they dominate this one individual who comes into my life, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And just having that difference of mentality. Men, when they think about power, the female may or may not be a part of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
May or may not. But with the female, She's like, man, I'm gonna use all my economic resources and empowerment and networking skills so I can have power over men in my personal relationships. And now you have put blinders on, you know what I'm saying, to some degree, because you're overly focused on one aspect of life when there's a no other aspect of domination that comes. And then, like you said, they don't want to get into that other aspect, because in the other aspects of domination and empowerment comes huge responsibilities. There's no responsibility, as it stands now. There's no checks and balances, in terms of overpowering black men in relationships. There's no checks and balances for that. You know what I'm saying? So you don't mind the power when there's no checks and balances. And you're only going to get that in your interpersonal relationships.
Well, this is the thing, right? In the scope of, like you said, power as far as society, on the global level, things like that. They don't. That's it's too much. It's like the person that got to run the corporation or run the country or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Women tend to want to be the recipients of, power, through whatever man she's with, tend to be, right? Black women are kind of different and unique when it comes to this, right?
Mhm.
So on a grand scale, like when it comes to like that sort of thing, that's really, really manly, masculine shit. That's on that level. So, taking power of the interpersonal relationship is much more simple. Where in one aspect you ran it with pussy, now you got pussy and money, right?
Mhm.
Then like that power that exists outside of that, it comes with way too much responsibility, accountability, and all of those other things. Like once you enter into that space, there is no getting around being held accountable, responsible, and this and that and the other, because that is another world that these women don't want a part of. But in interpersonal relationships, they can have the best of both worlds. They can run the relationship and blame the man when shit goes left.
Yes. Yeah.
So that doesn't exist outside of that.
Right.
If you're running a company or a country or some shit like that and shit go left, bitch, it's your fault. There's no man to blame. There's nobody. You can't blame patriarchy, because you're running the shit.
Yeah.
Patriarchy didn't stop you from running this country or running this company, so you can't blame that. But in your interpersonal relationships, you're free from accountability, but you also have the power. It's the best of both worlds. And that's why they focus on that, because that's already their domain to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got the money, so that frees you from the obligation or the submission factor, and then you can still run the situation with pussy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
you don't need the man for his money, but he still needs you for pussy. It's the double-edged shit working for them, in their favor.
Well, it's kind of insidious to some degree, cleverly insidious, because what they're essentially doing is saying, you know what? Listen, nigga, I'm first gonna dominate you and submit you, right? And then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get this money and I got this pussy so I can run this shit, right? So they're like, okay, then they're like, I'm gonna go out into the workforce. And nigga, if you don't back me and whatever I'm doing socially and politically out here, nigga, I'm putting you out the house, nigga, and you're not getting shit. You're not getting no pussy. So that's how they come up, politically and socially, is because they know that they have control of the personal relationships, and they leverage that. That's just like anytime, you had women running and doing whatever, anytime they got pushback from a man, they called it fucking misogyny and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They made it into a fucking personal thing. Anytime anyone said anything about cop mala and shit, automatically it's like, oh, you hate women and this and that. They made it to a personal thing because they understand they have control of the interpersonal relationships, and they leverage that in the political arena.
they also have control of the perception of the interpersonal relationship, where they are the victim all the time. So again, in that context, they have a lot of power, right? So you get to tell the world, who already believes that black men are abusers and molesters and deadbeats and all this other shit. All you have to do is confirm that to the world, right? You just have to confirm it. You don't have to. You don't have to even, levy it as an allegation. You just have to confirm it. Yeah, they already believe you. They already believe you. So, and that's another part of that power that I just mentioned. Aside from the money factor and the pussy factor, there's also, proxy state power. Oh, stay in line, motherfucker, or I'm gonna call these boys on you and tell them that you did some shit to me, and they're going to, take your ass to jail or whip your ass or whatever. And these men that they often deal with, these pookies that they'll complain about to the world, but they stay with because they have all that power, over. They tell that to these pookies, and these pookies, they sometimes stay in line, and sometimes, they whip ass. I mean, you got alpha pookies too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These guys, they could be, successful criminals on the street, and sometimes they run their situations, but then we're not talking about these career women per se, like, because the career women, they don't even want to be with the successful pookie.
Right.
Right. Usually successful pookie is dealing with, the bad round away chick or whatever. He's not dealing with somebody that's like the CEO or some shit. Nah. Unless he's lying to her about where his money comes from.
Right.
Now, and I'm not saying that these women aren't attracted to these guys. You just don't often see them paired up in a meaningful way often. Like you see them, but not often. But yeah, man, that's where most of that power lies. But let me ask you, because I haven't asked you flat out, right? So you got black empowerment, you got black female empowerment. Okay. And I've already stated, black empowerment, or if you want to say black empowerment, what you're really saying is empowering black men, because when you empower black men empower everyone else. They give to the community, they build families, et cetera, et cetera. And when you give black females this power, you don't see much come from it. I mean, is that a fair thing to say? And is black female empowerment useful for the greater black collective?
Well, here's the thing: is the black female empowerment is to some degree a showpiece. So anytime you're talking about empowering women, what you're basically saying to other groups and cultures that you may be in some kind of competition with, look how well off my women are. So in the domain of female empowerment in general, and then, and thus black female empowerment, what usually happens is that she becomes this protected entity, because she becomes the showpiece as to how well the group is doing. So for the group to get to be recognized, as a prominent group, what usually what they'll do, they'll try to insulate the women from ever being in a position of loss. Okay, so even in the black culture, we don't want, and to be honest, we don't want women to be in a position of loss, because that's going to say to everyone else basically that we failed, and as a group, our group, our race or whatever is a failure, because look at your women. I mean, there was this one, saying, well-known saying, I forgot who said it, Malcolm X, you would know the condition of your race based on the women. So we use the women as a showcase. We don't. And so in reality, we want to be honest, we don't want her to be held accountable, because again, she's the showpiece. You know what I'm saying? To tell everyone else we're doing just as well as what you're doing.
It's funny. I didn't want to interrupt you, man, but it's funny. I said that exact thing yesterday. I said, but I did say it in reference to that. I said it more so in reference to, uh, when women are harmed violently and things like that. It speaks to how well their men are protecting them. And
Mhm.
and I was talking to Brandy, the one that was just on with us. I was basically telling her, when Black women date the most violent men in our culture, and then because it's their preference, and then they tell the world that Black men are beating them,
Mhm.
and that makes us look crazy. Not just in the manner that we can't protect them, but that we're the ones harming them. Like there's a majority of Black men beating Black women or harming Black women, right?
Mhm.
Um, but what you said is also true. Like, yeah, our inability to, keep women, I guess up to a certain lifestyle, because they pretty much, Black women pretty much compare what we do for them, or our inability to do things for them, to what white men do for their women.
Mhm.
And yeah, now
Well,
the
it's a cross cultural thing. I mean, I'm saying all cultures and races present their women, and the treatment of their women as the epitome of success, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so how do you rate success? Like what is the highest marker of success for a group? Oh, look at our women. Look at how they're doing.
but see, that would be valid if the Black women's power came from us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, but their power, you understand? You know what I'm saying? If we were the ones putting them in that position to be empowered,
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying? Then
Mm-hmm.
we could say, yeah, we them dudes, because look at our women, look what we put our women in position to be.
Uh-huh.
But that's not what it is. These women gain their power outside. So then they look at us like, well, shit, we had to get our power from other places, and now we have it and you don't, and we ain't giving it up, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I don't care what group it is white people, Black people, female people, male people. People do not submit power willingly. They just don't.
Right.
So, this idea, like, even Brandy said, well, Black women gotta empower their men. Black women ain't empowering Black men for the same reason white men ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they feel like if there was to ever be a shift, it would be white man's burden or the color purple.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And nobody wants to share power, because nobody wants to be on the opposite side of power.
Right. 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 Yeah, Black women don't want to lose their position. And if Black women are really honest, most of the feminists will say the reason that we're pushing so hard for empowerment is because we don't want to lose it. If they're really being honest, because I've heard that from several feminists, in conversation. They're like, yeah, we know shit is not bad now, but as we make it, but we're really just keeping our foot on the necks because we don't ever want you motherfuckers to change the fucking power dynamic.
So you talking about Black feminists, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because white feminist power comes from white men. Black feminist power comes from white men.
Well,
Right?
and that's the funny thing, bro. And that's the funny thing. And that's why white men are never going to have a problem with feminism, because for them, it's a badge of honor. Like, yo, they're like, yo, we're so fucking big and bad. We can even let these motherfuckers run their own shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how fucking big and bad we are. That we can just hand over some shit. A whole segment of power we can just hand over to to white and Black women. That's how fucking bad we are. So man, it ain't looking good, bro.
See,
Because
yeah,
it ain't because white men are looking at Black women as their fucking trophy piece too of
yeah,
empowerment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, black women know where their power comes from. That's why they vote Democratic in droves and things like that. They know where their power comes from, and they know it ain't us. They know it ain't us, and that's why they look at us the way they do. And like when it comes to their power is limited to the black community. Their power is limited to us, and outside of us, it doesn't exist. So with all their female empowerment, it doesn't work on white women or white men or Asian. It doesn't work anywhere else. And it doesn't work on empowered black men. So they have to go and they have to cash in their empowerment where it has value.
Exactly. So they have to dominate motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
If you everywhere you go, this empowerment is not working.
No, I like that. They got to cash in on that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got to cash in that empowerment where it's accepted. You don't spend a Canadian nickel here.
You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah.
That shit is a Canadian nickel. Go to Canada.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's what it is, man. But and like I said, it sounds so sexist and misogynistic to say. It does. When you say black female empowerment is useless, I can understand why it's useful for the black female, but is outside of that context is useless. It's useless in the context of empowering the community.
Yeah.
Because they don't share their power.
Right.
They don't share it. Black men share power. Black women do not.
And that's the thing. And so to that point, they were told that their power was not supposed to be shared. That's how they were instructed when they received the power. They're like, okay, this is for you and only for you. That's what they were told. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy. Well,
we never set a standard for them to do that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So, we're retroactively trying to have a conversation about, okay, black women, why don't you help us? But we never set that. No one ever set that standard before. For any women anywhere in the world, that standard has never been set. It's never been set.
On average, and I say on average, that means not everybody. So for all women who might listen to me speak, on average, typically, commonly, black women don't even empower their sons, right?
Yes, I know that from my own experience. Yes.
Yeah, me too, sir. So, so what you have is another generation that'll come forward, and the women of that next generation will now bitch and moan about this new generation of so-called weak black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who they're frustrated with, that was created by the previous generation of black women, and they won't blame those black women for I guess
disempowering them.
Yeah, disempowering them. They'll blame the black men themselves for not being empowered, right?
Right.
So then those women who are complaining about that generation of men will in turn create a new generation of the same men, and it is spin cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It is It's around and around and around we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because even in the time, all of our great leaders, you know what I'm saying? The thing is like, okay, you're calling them misogynists, but they were always about female empowerment. You know what I'm saying? Like when you had Malcolm X, and the most disrespected individual is the black woman. You know what I'm saying? But yet you're gonna call him, you're calling all these men misogynists for looking at your situation and focusing on female empowerment, but they're misogynist. How do you, what I'm saying? How do you honestly make that comparison? Or how do you honestly make that statement, in good conscience?
See, feminism could not exist if it wasn't for patriarchal support.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Feminism is born from patriarchy in the manner that women are saying we're not getting this, that, and the third, and men are saying okay, right? Okay, and when I say men, I kind of got to say white men, because all these arguments that black feminists will make against black men have nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the wage gap or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're arguing or debating with a black man about the wage gap, you need to open up the things on the wage gap, and what you'll find is that your salaries are being compared to white men's salaries, not just men's salaries in general.
Mm-hmm.
So they say for every dollar that a white man makes, and then they list a bunch of different demographics of women. Say the black woman makes this, the white woman makes this, and the Asian woman makes this, and blah, 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 blah. Usually fractions of the white man's dollar. They don't compare nobody's salaries to black men's salaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you if you compare the black man's salaries to the white man's salary, he makes a fraction of that motherfucker too. Now, what the women are upset at is, well, that man might make more money than them. But then here's another paradox. And I love this paradox. I love this irony because I'm a fan of irony. Black women are mad. Or women in general are mad, but especially black women are mad that they can't find men that make more than them, but they're mad when men make more than them.
Exactly.
It's not fair. You want equality.
Well, here's but here's where Kevin Samuels come in, because or the model that he's trying to promote is that a lot of times at the heart of the whole conversation, anytime that a black woman sees her man doing well, she thinks, okay, it becomes a competition in her mind. You know what I'm saying? She just can't relax. You know what I'm saying? I know so many cases where brothers said, you know what I'm saying, their fathers, as soon as their father started doing well, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she was with him, she was cool, there was no competition, you know what I'm saying, when a nigga wasn't really on the level. Once a nigga went on the level, she's like, oh shit, I gotta go out and get a job, I gotta do this. Now you want to be productive outside of helping me continue to build my legacy economically or otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Why all of a sudden the need, to act like you have to be valuable when you wasn't trying to be valuable when I wasn't on the level. Now you know what I'm saying? Like, now we have the money, you want to go get a job.
I think black women have been taught that black male power is oppressive.
Yeah.
So Don Willie,
what's going on?
What's poppin', man?
Sir, Don, it's a dawn of ice and fire up in here. About to lay down some cover fire out here.
All right.
Hey, man. I've been listening to the convo, obviously. Look, at the end of the day, men in the society are disposable, but not only are black men disposable, we are unwanted, And so when you have the combination of not only a society, but your own counterparts in the society who, are taking every opportunity they can to make sure that the boot is on your neck. We're facing the whole entire thing of we're fighting against all of these natural forces, and then we have the unnatural force that unfortunately happens to be most black women. Because think about it, even with the whole feminism thing, once white women get what they want, they're like, all right, cool. We're good now. We had a little gripe about some certain things, but all right, we're willing to take that position as long as we're gonna still keep the benefits that we got. Whereas you see, black women who were like, yeah, okay, well, we're not looking for parity. We are looking for supremacy, and in order to have that, we have to make sure that any, black men cannot be allowed to prosper or lead. You know what I'm saying? In any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you have. I mean, think about it. How many times have you worked at a job? You had a black female manager, and she's giving you hell, while other people, who may not show up to work on time or lazy as fuck, are the people that she pals around with.
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and like you were saying, Marcus, so as you turn 18, listen, bro, I remember. I turned 18. Mom Dukes is like, yo, listen, I know you still in high school, but you got yourself a little jobby job. Time to start kicking that money over.
I know you still in high school. Wow.
But I mean, and the crazy thing now, and see, and this is the thing where it's like, look, I'll be honest with you, man. It took me years, until I came, when I came across, different people and seeing what other men are allowed to do for their families, and how when they are empowered to really take care of their families, they go hard. They sacrifice it all. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, when you hear about dudes, not stepping up or whatever may have you, it's like, well, if I'm already having the stress of whatever the world is putting on me, and plus I have to fight with the woman who is the mother of my kids, like, how much am I going to be willing to sacrifice when everything is a battle? Everything. And I mean, like I think about I didn't, I had said when I was young I wasn't going to go to college, and not because I was being on some lazy shit, but because I didn't have proper education of how college worked, and I didn't have anybody to guide me into that. Mom Dukes, her whole thing was just like, oh, all right, make sure you graduate, get a job, or go to the military. That was literally it. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy shit about it is, I remember her asking me, yo, do you want to go to college? And I mind you, my perception of college got fucked up when I was maybe 12 or 13. I was living with my grandmother at the time, and she had signed me up for the Big Brothers program. And my big brother was a college student. This dude, I remember him saying something about having to write a 20-page term paper. And I was like, oh, nigga, that's it. I'm done. I mean, but again, I'm a 12-year-old. So, it's like, the fuck do I really know about that shit? But I remember that being ingrained in my mind, and not having any sort of guidance after that. I still got that BS stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom asking me, yo, you sure you don't want to go to college? You sure you don't want to go to college? I'm like, look, I didn't do well in high school. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to just, find my way, get it how I live. right? And
Yeah.
plus, I was like, yo, I'm not trying to take out no crazy loans and owe people a bunch of money for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So she kept on saying, yo, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the money. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? Don't worry about the money if I'm the one who's going to have to pay the loans.
Yeah.
Yo, but hold up. Here's the kicker. Here is the kick in the nuts. Yo, why she told me like after after I was like, no, I'm not going, you might as well stop asking, yada yada yada, right? Yo, why like years later, she tells me, I'm talking about like 10, 15 years later, she was like, yo, I had money for you to go to college, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, when? Oh yeah, when I was asking you if you wanted to go to school. You mean when I thought that I had that there was no money for me to go to college, and I'm up there talking about how I'm gonna have to take out loans and all that? Yeah. I'm sorry. Why would you not tell me that when it was relevant?
That hurts, bro. That's hurt.
Yo, why would you not tell me that so I can make an actual informed decision? And she's like, oh, well, I forget whatever excuse it was, but to this day, I'm like, whenever she talks to me about going to school, I'm like, yo, you can't talk to me about going to school. You can't. Because I'm like, here is something, that, again, I didn't have a crazy amount of guidance on any of this. And I'm still, tripping and falling over shit because there's a bunch of stuff that I have to go out and learn for myself, in order to make sure that I don't wind up fucking 70 and broke. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is just just the crazy shit that we as black men have to deal with in in this society because yeah, man, like I said, I look at white kids, Asian kids, Hispanic kids, or whatever. I've worked around men and women from all these different cultures, and there's not one of them who ever would have been like, yo, yeah, I had money for my kid to go to college, and I didn't, and I didn't tell them that I had money for them to go to college, because that's just something that they didn't need to worry about.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. It's a lot of guys with stories like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a story like that. I ain't gonna go into it now, but I got a story like that. But it's just there's so many black dudes and black women too. Don't get it twisted. Like we talk about black mothers empowering their daughters over their sons and shit like that. But don't get it twisted. Black moms do shit to their fucking daughters too, and it be fucked up. But I'm just saying, when it comes to us though, this is almost like a concentrated effort that you ain't supposed to get no help. As a you're a black man, but you a man, you ain't supposed to get no help. As a man, you shouldn't have no assistance. You need to do this by yourself. And, I'm your mother, but I'm a woman, and women should not be helping you because you're a man. So, you have the magic, man magic, right? Get it done yourself and all by yourself. And, I'm going to help your sisters and us aunts and aunts and moms and grandmamas and everybody gonna band together and we gonna bring each other up. But as a man, you get no assistance, motherfucker, because you are a man, and in this world, men just have more, benefits, opportunities, and shit. Fuck the fact that you're the out group, motherfucker.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, fuck the fact that you're the black man who they've been hanging from trees and doing all type of other shit to since we got here. Forget that part. You're a man, and by virtue of you being a man, you should be able to wave your magic man hands and achieve the heights of success without our help. So we going all this power and all this access and all this, empowerment, all this shit.
Can't hear this shit no more.
We're gonna reserve it for us, because if by chance you should succeed, then you gonna do a Danny Glover on our asses, and that ain't what we want. But yeah, man. Hey, we at the 2-hour mark. Let's not do a Zack Snyder cut. So I'm gonna let you say. Hey Don, you was gonna respond to what I just said. You had something else to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the disposability thing real quick. Just because, like, all right, for example, I got a chick that I was talking to recently, right? Now, she doesn't like waking up as early as I have to for work. She's been working out lately, so she's like, "Yo, can you do me a solid? Call me in the morning, wake me up." Cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that for like 3 weeks, and around the third week or whatever, she had started getting up on her own because she was going into work earlier, right? So she didn't need me to call her, but I was
You talking?
still doing it anyway. Like, right now, I'm like, all right, well, there was 1 or 2 days where I was to me she seemed like she was acting kind of funny style, and I was just like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm not going to call. Let me just see what happens. So I didn't call, and I turned off my phone because I was like, I want to see, saying if she leaves a text or voicemail or something to be like, yo, hey, what happened? Are you okay? Whatever. So, I turn on my phone at like the time when I turn on when I get to work, crickets, nothing, and nothing for the entire day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would figure, okay, this is somebody who you're supposed to be trying to get to know, and you've invested time talking to them, going out with them, this, that, and the third. You have a routine, and the routine has been broken. You would figure like, oh man, well, you know what? Let me see if something might have happened. Maybe they're sick or or whatever. But no, nothing. Here she was giving me the responsibility of waking her up to exercise, right? And when she didn't need me anymore to do that, when she could do that on her own, it was like, yeah, okay, well, fuck it. I don't need you. I don't need you to call me anymore. So I'm not even gonna check to see whether or not you're okay when you don't call. I just want you fellas to think about that.
Some cold-hearted shit. Cold-blooded. Talk to me, bro.
Man, so I mean, I was having some audio issues, so I didn't hear all of it. I just kind of got on the last tail end of his experience. But give me a synopsis of the whole thing again.
So essentially, had this girl who was talking to. She asked me to wake her up, at the time that I normally wake up to go to work. Basically, once she didn't need me for the phone calls anymore, the day when I decided, okay, I'm not going to call anymore because I want to see whether or not she's going to check to see like, how I'm doing or whatever, because we've gotten into a routine.
Mm-hmm.
I broke the routine, and there wasn't any like, oh man, okay, well, this isn't like him. let me see, what the deal is, and we make sure he's okay. It's just like, okay, I don't need you to wake me up anymore. So if you don't call, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the benefit expired.
You basically, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the utility. Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's it. But but again, their power dynamic is all that they're concerned about. You know what I'm saying? That position, where they feel that they have you as a helper to some degree. That's all that they need. That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna close this out. 'Cause we about 2 minutes and 5 seconds, right? I would hate to leave this discussion with people under the impression. I doubt that most of the men think this. Whoever might be listening to this, right? Even for Black women, right? I would hate for people to leave this discussion under the impression that I desire for women to be like under the thumb of men or oppressed by men or subjugated by men or whatever the case may be. What I have a problem with is Black female empowerment as it stands today. And Black female empowerment as it stands today does not require women to accept what comes with empowerment. What that is the same things that come with empowering men. Is you owe to the community and to families and the things like that. You owe to the collective that empowered you.
Right.
That's
the problem that we all had with Oprah. I mean, everybody made it about a female issue, but it was really about, bitch, you made your career off of Black people. What the fuck do we get back for that shit? You know what I'm saying? Fuck whether you're a male or fucking female. We look at all of the successful people in our community in that fashion.
Yeah. So as it stands, Black female empowerment is some shit for the sake of, because it is not useful to us as a group of people.
Yeah.
When you empower men, it is more useful. And I'm just making a practical, rational statement. I'm not taking away from, like I said, the intelligent and the talented Black women that, build their own. But what I'm saying is, and it looks nice, it feels good to say, Black and, females independent and this and that. These are catchphrases and they sound good and they feel good on the tongue and everything like that. But in practical reality, they're useless, because when you empower women, that power goes to waste. It is not being utilized.
It has to. I mean, here's the thing: the functionality of it. Meaning, you can talk about power, but if there's no system in place to deliver that power, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of a farce. You know what I'm saying? If the interpersonal relationships are all jacked up for whatever reason, which they are between males and females, if you get power, there's no way for it to trickle down to us, because there's a complete disconnect.
Even if let's say the interpersonal relationships were still what they were, right? If Black women took the power that they got, the finances and the resources that they got, and they built the community without us, then they could talk shit. But this isn't just tied to interpersonal relationships. If Black women banded together and built the hood up and put together schools and this and that, when Black men, now we talk shit about Dr. Umar and his recent attack on David Samuels, but the reason we know this man exists is because originally he set out to build a school for Black boys. what I want to know is what is black women doing for the community? I don't want to hear that some black women got together and did something for little black girls or did something for battered women and women this and women and women in science and these other women, because women help women, but they don't help the community.
Yes.
They don't do shit for the children and the men. But
Right.
the men, when they have the torch, they don't just do shit for men and boys.
Yes. Well, you know
Okay?
what? You know what is a good example, which shows the problematic nature of the propaganda. There's this one guy called Mr. Organic, right? He was on
Who?
Fresh and Fit. Mr. Organic.
Okay.
All right. So I guess he's a black guy. He's like 6'4", 5 or whatever, right? So they had him on, and they had all these chicks. So he was the high value man. So he was giving his point on what he thought high value females should bring to the table. And so the one female was like, you know what I'm saying? All you need is a nice looking chick to inspire you, to be submissive, you know, to cook and clean and cater to you. Everything Kevin Samuel says, this chick was going to be that, okay? So, but this nigga here, right? You know what I'm saying? This nigga here, right? So this nigga is a real motherfucking player and pimp, right? But now that he got 6 figures, this nigga, he tried to shit on the chick, right? He said, you're dumb, you're stupid. And she's like, nah, I come from corporate finance, honey. You know what I'm saying? You know, and his thing was, he's like, oh, you come from corporate finance. Why would you want to put yourself in a position to be negatively dominated by male? That's how, once he flipped over, this nigga, man, he turned on the fucking feminism and was like, and told the chick that being up under a high value man is fucking suffering. That's what this dude said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, what fucking hope do we have? So even those of us who talk this shit, that's just like one day Marcus Aurelius goddamn coming on, and this nigga don't flip the script all night.
That's what I'm saying. Again, when you check all the boxes, they're afraid of the power that you're coming with. So they tease the men without power, and they don't want to see men with power because they're afraid of what we may do with that power.
But here's the thing, but the dude, he's going along with the program now. Now that he has resources and he's a multi 6-figure dude, he's like, okay. I'm saying, he told the chick, I need a female with a college degree. Right? So he's like, man, you know, he don't want a chick that don't have no degree and shit. He don't want no, so it's like the whole Kevin Samuel thing of being submissive and this and all that. He's like, fuck that. I need a chick who has a business degree who can help me run my fucking company. Right? And then he says to the chick, there's no way in the world that you should come from corporate finance to want to be up under a high value man. He basically told her that's oppressive. I'm like, he flipped. He flipped over on us. You know what I'm saying? For no reason.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, but you know, again, it's like I said, it's just more boxes to check after you done checked all the boxes. You know, and it's more, you know, it's more about you're trying to avoid Mr. from The Color Purple when you see an actual empowered man come into the situation. That's why, you know, they want to empower the women. They don't want to empower the men because they're afraid of what comes with us being empowered, because they look at us as abusive, oppressive, and things like that, because those are the type of men that they usually involve themselves with.
Yeah, but that goes to what we were saying earlier, is that black men what I'm saying is, once black men become empowered, they want to use the woman also as a trophy, in the sense that Mr. Organic did. He wants to say, you know, look how great I am. I have produced a college educated female.
I think that's capped, though.
Okay.
I think it's capped to some degree. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think, you know, I think it sounds good to say that. right?
Uh-huh.
But that's not what men typically chase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's not what typically they're attracted to. As you say that, you're gonna have a side chick on the side of your high value, you know. And I don't consider a woman that gets money to be a high value woman, because that is not what men value.
Mm-hmm.
High value is based on what the opposite sex values in you,
Yes.
right? So when people get mad at when he says, "Oh, high value man," it's not that he thinks a man without money isn't valuable. He's basically saying, and he's saying it pretty rationally and pragmatically, women find men with money valuable. Okay? If you go on fishing, you bring worms because fish like worms. So to the fish, worms are high value.
Right.
In jail, cigarettes are currency
Mm-hmm.
because motherfuckers smoke. And it's hard. Cigarettes are hard to come by in jail.
Right.
That's why they're currency. I'm gonna get the black sheep comment in a minute. But yeah, so high value is determined by the buyer,
Yes.
right? If men are the buyer, high value has everything to do with your sexual marketplace value, right?
Right.
When it comes to men, your value is determined by your ability to provide, your status, your wealth, whatever. Whatever women are finding attractive this week, your long beard, whatever. But that denotes high value in a man. It's about the buyer, right? So it's that's where that definition comes from. So when we hear that and we flip, hey, that's what it is. So it's just like when he says, high value men don't cheat, they exercise options. He's not telling men to cheat. He's saying these men have options, and that's what they do. So if you want these men, this is a byproduct of fucking with them. If you fuck with these men, this is what they do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, me personally, as much as I don't like to see anybody held back from their purpose, I just don't find it purposeful to empower Black women unless you obligate them to utilize that empowerment for the benefit of the collective, like you do men.
Yes.
Don, you got something?
Brother, you will never in a million years get that to happen. And you want to know why? Because there is the mentality, and you will never hear a man say this, but you will hear women say this all the time. My money is mine, your money is ours.
Oh,
and
yeah.
As long as women can even think that is an acceptable phrase to utter, you will never have them be like, you know what, yes, I need to do for the community. Because if my money is mine and your money is ours, then that means that the only person who should be doing anything for the community is the man.
Yeah. Well, then he should have all the power, goddammit. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, so just think about it, right? Like, yeah, I didn't, spend all this time going to school and doing all this stuff and trying to keep up with the city girl Instagram lifestyle to go and have to be told that, yo, you know what, you make 100 change, you make 6 figures a year. You know, in order for you to really be successful, you gotta toss like 10% back in the community so we can rebuild for the next generation. Nope. It's not my job. I've done my part. My part was to go to school, get masters, PhD, this, that, and the third, so I can go out and buy some red bottoms and a Gucci bag. You know, that's how. And you want to know? It's like, hey, you want to know how I'm empowering the community because I'm showing them that you can do the same thing. It's like, yeah, but for all of that, you know, you could have possibly started a business, somebody that could have, got you your Gucci bag and your red bottoms. You could have, helped mentor somebody, and who knows, maybe later on in life, that person or people that you mentored, might be able to help you to get more, more wealth for yourself. But no. My money is mine, and your money is ours.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. I mean, we mentioned that earlier, but that's in not only is that their thinking, but they're supported in that thinking by other women and simp motherfuckers. So let's go to Black Sheep's comment. Ronald Neal posted a picture of a black man locked to a tree with a chain to a black woman sinking in water with the key. She would rather us die than free him and pull her up. That's deep. You see that shit? That's crazy.
All right.
A black man locked to a tree with a chain to a black woman sinking in water with the key. That's deep. Shout out to Ronald Neal, someone else who shows me crazy love, and
Hey,
especially on
what
this.
what was that? What was that post where you were thanking him and the guy Monsanto or someone?
Masante. So
Monsanto?
okay, so Masante Bay is Bitter Truth Show. Bitter Truth Show on YouTube. He's
Yeah,
been around for some time.
yeah.
Black Gnostic Speaks, BGS Idmore,
Yeah.
who I don't have him on Facebook, so I couldn't tag him.
Okay.
Of course, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, Green Gorilla,
Mm-hmm.
and Ronald Neal.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to shout them out, man, because they've been, promoting my channel lately,
Okay.
like
Okay.
real body. So I had to shout them out. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all jumping in here. I'm gonna shout out everybody that was in the chat. So we got Metaforce, you know what I'm saying? Got Prodigy, got Adam Williams as usual. My man Don Willie, Afro Analyst, Alonzo Hall, what's going on? Barry Little, and Diego Thomas, my brother in photography. And yeah, man, and the Black Sheep, Black Sheep, that last comment, man, that's crazy. I got to see that picture. I'm gonna hit up Dr. Neal for that. And yo, man, this was Black empowerment versus Black female empowerment. Two statements that probably shouldn't go against each other. They probably should mean the same thing, but they do not, sadly. Sadly, we can't empower our women for Black empowerment. Black female empowerment does not equal Black empowerment.
Yep.
Because our women have been told that once they are empowered, that they cannot empower the rest of the collective. They are to just to empower themselves, empower their group. And they actually get upset at, seeing Black male empowered. I mean, we seen, when I forgot the guy's name, he donated all that money to all these college students, all the guys.
Morehouse.
And women were mad that he didn't, do that for women.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
they were mad. They were mad at Obama for creating My Brother's Keeper for young black males too as well,
yeah.
and that
So
got shut down.
that's crazy. So yeah, so like I said, it's the color purple Mr. complex, man. You know, anything given to black men, black women will stop it. Black women, you know, ironically shut down Umar Johnson. You know, why he's defending them right now, I'm confused. But you know, they shut him down for giving trying to build a school for black boys,
Right.
in particular. But this is the problem that we have, in my opinion, and again, it's gonna sound sexist, misogynist, all of those things, but I think as it stands, and I have to say as it stands for the collective black people, black female empowerment is useless. It's useless because it does nothing for the collective, and black women wasted. It's wasted,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's it for today, man. I appreciate y'all for joining me, man.
Thank
Don,
you.
yeah, Ian, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna do this again, man. I got a few more interesting, juicy topics to cover, man, and we're gonna get out of here.
All right.
All right. You know, happy Tuesday to everybody.
All right.
And 100, man.
100.
All right. 100, baby.